Cool. Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Caleb. Pleasure to be here. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the fantastic segue that Caleb just made. So the challenges with logistics and the opportunities within logistics in the African continent. So I'm joined by some esteemed guests, and I'll let them introduce themselves. Nick, please go ahead.
Thanks, Peter. My name's Nick Joshi. I'm the founder and CEO of Leta. Leta is the infrastructure for last mile logistics. We help customers move their goods cheaper and more efficiently.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. My name is Yuki Ouchi. I'm the head of SMB for ShipShap Africa. ShipShap is building technology solutions for last mile delivery options for African producers and creators across the continent and, of course, into the world. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Isidoor. I'm one of the founders and commercial director for eBEE. eBEE is an electric mobility company. We specialize in light electric vehicles, so electric cargo bicycles, cargo bikes. We supply a lot to the large last mile delivery platforms. So think Glovo, Bolt, but also Leta. So basically we're solving the issue of high cost in last mile, where, Africa is one of the few places where people deliver a pizza with a motorcycle. We think that can be a lot cheaper and a lot more efficient. Thanks.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you everyone for the brief introductions. I'll also try to keep it short and sweet. So maybe just to kick us off, Nick, right? Your company has been instrumental in shaping last mile logistics, right? So what's last mile logistics? I know we use this term very often, but what's last mile logistics, and what are some of the trends that you're seeing across the continent?
Yeah, revolutionizing. I'll take that as a compliment. We're just getting started. So I think when we think about logistics, we generally break it out into three different categories or groups. So there's the first mile, generally from farm or primary input into main distribution point. Then you have middle mile, which is kind of that second phase to multiple distribution points. And then last mile is generally to end customer, dark store or a hub and spoke model. So that's kind of how we think about it. Now, the most inefficiency we see generally is in that last mile phase, right? It's the consolidation at one distribution point, then out to multiple customers or endpoints. And so what we've really tried to do is create technology and infrastructure to create efficiency around that, right? And to reduce the cost to serve. So using route optimization and leveraging AI, we're able to create much more efficient delivery routes for those last mile stops. And so we work with large QSRs, we work with e-retailers, manufacturers, distributors to provide that technology. And we also work with partners like eBEE who actually provide the supply to deliver those goods. And because they are an e-mobility partner, they're able to combat the ever-increasing price of fuel to make sure that those prices or delivery costs are fixed, right? And I think a lot of the impetus around revolutionizing logistics is around the cost, right? And we know around the globe, it forms a large part of the cost of good or cost of goods to end consumers. And it ranges anywhere from 30 to 50%. Now, in Africa, it's closer to 50% because of the inefficient systems, the lack of digitization, the improving infrastructure, which is not always there. So that's why there's a real impetus for organizations, both locally and across Africa, to try and improve it.
Yeah, I think I've counted you mentioning technology about 5 times. So maybe Yuki, just given your role at ShipShap, what would you say, and how is ShipShap transforming the logistics for small and medium business enterprises using technology?
Thank you. So the first thing that ShipShap is doing, of course, is working on integrations with some of the major logistics operators within Africa. And so what then this allows is for small businesses to be able to see rates directly across the entire supply chain. So if you're looking for a warehousing partner or a logistics partner, if you're looking at customs clearance, we provide one unified dashboard where you can be able to see all of these different suppliers. The other thing, of course, is access to information, which is very important. So as an SMB, trying to understand the different trade regulations across different markets, even county to county for Kenya or country to country can be very complicated. So where one country, 18% import tax, another could be 16. Some goods are classified as dangerous in one market versus another. So having that one partner who's able to then communicate all these different challenges and aspects for you is what ShipShap provides to small and medium businesses. Other than that, being able to give information about trade agreements. So for instance, Kenya and Ghana have a trade agreement that allows small and medium businesses to import into each other country tax-free. Aside from that, you can be able to go to their offices in Kenya or Ghana and find out more information about suppliers. So we're able to then connect small and medium businesses to such information to make business easier for them. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. And maybe Izzy, I think eBEE is known for its eco-friendly solutions. So just wondering, how do you balance sustainability and efficiency, especially when you're looking at logistics? And do you think that the green mode of transportation that eBEE offers is the future?
I think logistics is actually one of the spaces where efficiency and sustainability are like, you know, two sides of the same medal. It's the one will accelerate the other. You know, especially with e-mobility now, you know, coming to the continent, coming to Kenya. Yeah, we see a huge opportunity to actually not only decarbonize that last mile, but also reduce the cost of the last mile and protect ourselves from things like, you know, rising fuel costs, which is a huge problem in Kenya, of course. I think, you know, a big part of the inflation we're seeing right now is due to rising fuel prices. Now, Kenya has, you know, the blessing that 80% of all energy resources are actually renewable. So think geothermal. So that means that's a super stable, super, you know, price inelastic source of energy. And it's all just sitting there. So waiting for us to use it in a way that, you know, we can leverage that to actually make our lives easier and also more affordable. So for me, sustainability and efficiency are basically synonymous to each other, especially in last mile, where, you know, the inefficiencies are so huge. You know, trucks driving around filled only 20%. Like I said, a motorcycle delivering a pizza, you know, spending about 80% of its total earnings on fuel. It's pretty ridiculous if you think about it. When all that money should be going, you know, either to the rider or to the business actually creating value, you know, not the people in Saudi Arabia pumping up oil. No offense, of course. So yeah, that would be my take on that.
Thanks, Izzy. And maybe just changing pace a bit. I know we've talked about the challenges of fuel, the need for technology, the need for route optimization. But just over to you, Nick, would be good to also understand what are some of the opportunities that you see, right? Especially in creating value for small and medium business enterprises at the last mile.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the 30 to 50% of the cost of goods is based on logistics. So I think everyone is trying to digitize, trying to be more efficient, and trying to improve, and ultimately reduce that cost to serve and improve service delivery for customers. So what we're generally seeing with the customers we work with, large enterprises, medium and small, is their adoption is really being driven by the market and what's happening. So it's not necessarily we're bringing, revolutionary type technology. It's the adoption is much higher. They want to implement quickly, and they want to be able to provide or see that saving to either have it themselves or pass it on to the customer. And it's really interesting. In kind of the last 2 years, we've seen a shift, and it's happened really quickly. And to me, it's reminiscent of like the internet coming on and having 3G, and now everyone seems to be on 5G. So we're hoping in the next kind of 3 to 5 years we see that same transition for logistics.
Fantastic. Maybe just speaking back the next 3 to 5 years, right? So what do you think will be transformational for SMBs across the continent, in Kenya, and the markets that ShipShap serves?
I think an adoption in technology, especially once we're able to minimize the costs of delivering this technology. Today, we have things like conversational commerce. People can go on WhatsApp, see a catalog, order, get a SDK push, and be able to pay for their goods essentially directly through WhatsApp. So adoption of technology, being able to lower the costs of access to this technology, I believe this will be the biggest game changer in the next 5 years. Yeah.
Fantastic. And maybe for you, Easy, could you please share how eBEE's approach is creating supply and opening up the entire market for companies such as ShipShap and Leta?
So, sorry, how we're creating supply?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know this is like a technology conference, and a lot of times tech companies are looking to reduce basically two things, right? First one is assets. Tech companies don't like assets. The second thing is people. You got to kind of build your processes the way that the technology can run your company. And I'm not saying there's not great people working at technology companies, of course. But I think actually eBEE is deliberately not really shying away from assets and people. I think in the end, as much as the Letas and the ShipShaps of this world are going to build, are going to increase efficiencies by, hundreds of %, the end, that package still needs to go from A to B. That's like, Caleb said it, logistics are not sexy, but super necessary. If we're thinking about 30, 50% of the price, like, I don't know if there's any place else you can gain so many advantages as in last mile logistics. So I think eBEE, as much as we leverage on tech and we use tech in our operations, we have very sophisticated ERPs. We try to leverage. We know that in the end, it's the guy on the bike and it's the bike that will deliver that package. So as much as building supply, we spend time in product development. We pay attention to the hardware, but also to the human aspect of logistics. And I think together, like that cocktail, and if you blend a little bit of good human-centric technology in it, you have a really powerful combination. So that would be my response.
Can I just touch on that?
Please.
I think really it's about the entire value chain, right? And I think supply is one part, technology is another. Their focus, ShipShap, is in customer clearing, freight forwarding, and kind of more first mile. We're more last mile. But I think we have to work as a unified front to tackle a very big and scary problem. And I think that's what we're trying to do as part of this partnership.
Fantastic. I mean, assets are scary for anyone, more so tech businesses, as you've mentioned. So I'm just wondering, from your perspective, Nick, and where you sit, right? In terms of leveraging data analytics, I think you touched on this at your introduction, right? How are you doing this for the everyday business, and what gains and efficiencies are you seeing from leveraging data analytics?
Yeah, at a high level, like we consider ourselves a data company. So we're able to track cost per delivery down to kilometers covered for each delivery done, right? And so through our route optimization software, through our track and trace, customers are able to see what is their average spend on a daily basis, but then also what is their estimated spend for either a week, month, etc., as they plan ahead. And I think there's real opportunity in that, right? I think today they're not really sure what they're spending, how to optimize, how to create efficiency. So we're able to provide that insight almost in a predictive nature to say, look, we know on these days you have increased orders or order frequency and distribution around these locations. We suggest, and working with partners like eBEE, to set up hubs or models that can reduce your cost to serve because it's closer to your customers, or potentially think about using that data to inform what products or inventory you hold in certain locations, right? So all of that data we capture when a customer order is placed, and we're starting to see that this just-in-time inventory or planning through our data, both from a product allocation, but then also from a delivery and delivery distribution, is doing the two things we want to do: reduce the cost to serve and improving the service delivery to customer. Customers are getting their products quicker, and they're paying less for them.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Nick. And maybe the same question for you, Yuki, at least from ShipShap's perspective. When you think about data and analytics and all the machine learning, all the big words that we tend to apply to different supply chains, how do you view ShipShap and how it's fundamentally solving a problem for small and medium business enterprises?
Sorry, repeat that?
So how does ShipShap use data analytics to solve core problems for small and medium business enterprises?
So through data, we're able to recommend to our customers new markets that they can be able to go into. We're also able to, of course, lower the costs of last mile delivery. We're able to leverage on different routes by consolidating orders from different customers and delivering them together, especially when it comes to the export markets. Using data, we've been able to also help customers open new markets. So I was very surprised to understand that there is a very big Kenyan diaspora in Australia. And this is one of the trends that we saw at ShipShap. And so we were able to help a lot of our customers to begin marketing in that region and address that market. Yeah. So data does help to open up new markets. It does help to lower costs and, of course, create overall more information for the ecosystem.
Fantastic. And maybe for you, Izzy, because you're more involved in the less sexy bits, right? So the asset ownership. But
What do you mean less sexy?
own words. So ownership of, or at least relationships with owners of the assets. So how are you using data at eBEE?
Yeah, I mean, definitely telematics, right? So asset tracking, but also then using that data to like go a step beyond, just repossessing or retrieving bikes or whatever. We also use that data to really, create heat maps to see, okay, what is rider behavior like? How can we use that to predict certain things? So definitely in that sense, telematics. And I think, nowadays, right, party. I think any company right now that is serious about its business has to be data driven, right? And in that sense, every company is becoming somewhat of a technology company. So yeah, we use it a lot in our operations. As I said, we've built quite an extensive ERP and asset tracking system where we also on a very granular level track kind of cost of operating. So we can really, with very high accuracy say, okay, this is how much we spend per kilometer, either doing deliveries So yeah, we leverage it a lot. I think we could do more, of course. And a lot of the things we also like admit where our where our boundaries are, and that's I think where we get companies like Leta in, but also other partners we have, and we rely on them to provide data. But in the end, like I said, anybody that's ambitious and serious about their business has to be data driven. So.
Yeah, fantastic. I can see Caleb rushing us to get off the stage, but maybe just a quick 30-second parting shot from each of the panelists. Like, what do you want us to take away from this conversation?
Logistics is a real problem, right? And I think when I say 30 to 50%, that could quickly become 60 to 70%. So I think we collectively have to think, how do we address this through technology, through partnerships, and through suppliers as well. Because the macro is not changing, right? Fuel is continuing to increase. We have the geopolitical stuff going on, inflation rates, etc. So, the ultimate or end customer who's buying, whether it's flour, tomatoes, onion, they're the one impacted. So I hope collectively this ecosystem can really think to address this problem and provide real impact.
I think, as Nick said, we definitely do have to work together to address the infrastructure issues that we have. And I say this strongly because we've got videos of companies delivering last mile with camels and donkeys. And while that's amazing, at the same time, we really need to work together collectively to address the key stakeholders, especially in government, to remove the blockers between countries when it comes to trade. There's no reason why Tanzania and Kenya should not have the same trade laws or So I would definitely say it's an infrastructure and cohesive working together.
For me, I guess, I was reading the slogan of this event, be bold, build the world you want. And I think the first part, be bold, is something, more we can see more in logistics. More people trying new things. Was another previous speaker, he said, if you're constantly copying, you're always behind. And then, we're here in Kenya, larger the African continent. There's unique challenges, right? Infrastructure, cost. I guess my takeaway would be, let's try to be a little bit more bold with each other. Try new things, online and offline. And I think, we can make, there's so much to gain, right? It's a super interesting space. Like I'm very excited for what the future holds.
Fantastic. Thank you so much to our panelists. I think those are fantastic takeaways. So cost of goods brought down by more efficient logistics. Logistics expands trade. And finally, be bold, right? Both online and offline as well. So thank you so much. And please let's give them a big round of applause.